Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Tonight, I'm taking a look at the Mondo Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1/6 scale Donatello. Now, I don't know why I got this. I'm sure some of you who clicked on this video are thinking, why is he doing a 1/6 scale? My review space isn't built for it. I don't have any shelf space for it. I have very few 1/6 scale figures. So, why? It's Donatello, man. I gotta have Donatello. Although why I haven't bought the NECA quarter scale Donatello from the movie yet, I don't know. There's a certain size I can't seem to get over. The 1/6 works, but any bigger than that and it kind of freaks me out. But now that I have this in hand, I don't know why I got it, really. I mean, I think it was one of those spur of the moment things of, you know, this is limited, it's expensive, but it's Donatello, I'll jump on it, and now, as long as it's been, I'm kind of regretting it. But looking at the package, which you can only see so much of because of my limited space here, it's got a nice graphic of Donatello on the front. It has the logo up top, the exclusive Mondo logo. On the side, we can just get Nickelodeon, the Turtles logo, and then again. On the back, pretty nice graphic of them in their original comic red bandanas. This totally works for me. All the way around the rest of the package, still just the Turtles logo. On the bottom, some legal stuff. And then the front has a flap that has Velcro right here. You have some nice graphics on this side of Donatello, some line art, bow staff, shuriken, an Utrom up here, and then you get a full window display of the figure and what comes inside of it. But again, you can't see all that. You should have looked at the pictures a minute ago. Haha. Picking the package up, I spent $150 on this, but they can't seem to keep the hand inside the blister package, which is not a huge deal because at the same time, this being a $150 action figure, I removed it from the shipping box and promptly dropped it. So what the hell do I know about value? But I'm going to get this open, and hopefully my regret passes for buying this figure. It is double blistered. You can see his hand right there. It looks like it just came out of the back blister here. There's just some, like, not even tape. It's supposed to be right there. Oops. See? I don't even know how to pack the damn thing. But there you go. And there we go, all out of the package. And I may have screwed up here, guys. Mondo has a bit more learning to do when it comes to action figures, but I like this enough to where I'm kind of considering the other three, and for that kind of money, it's kind of insane. But looking at the sculpt here, it's very classic. I'm not going to say it's quite the original comic. It's a little bit more rounded, I think. It's a little bit more thick. It's kind of a mix of the original comic and the later cartoon. Not even cartoon, I don't know. It's kind of a amalgam of a bunch of different sources, but it's all classic in my head at least. And then as far as paint goes, the colors, I really dig this. And in this instance, I feel like they kind of mixed in the original action figures after the cartoon, you know, the big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles boom, where Donatello had that darker skin tone than the rest. But on top of that, there's a wash to it. It's kind of dirty, it's kind of gritty. The shell is a nice kind of orangey yellow color to it. The black wash on it, just everything about this figure just screams classic. And then up to the head, it's definitely pulling from that original comic look for the most part. But in the package, it came with the purple mask on the head, which I feel like is a later influence on it. As I'll get to in a minute, there's also that classic comic look too. But the overall sculpt, again, it fits the body. It just, everything here takes all the stuff from my childhood in my head and kind of smushes it together a little bit. You can definitely see influences from several different sources here. But I know what a bunch of you are looking at, and I don't blame you, and that's the tail. Yeah, it looks funny. Yeah, I don't know how else to say that. But the good thing here is it's just on a tiny little ball peg. So you can take that off if you want to, and it affects nothing at all to the overall look. I don't mind it now that I've played around with the figure for a while, but I'll have it off for the rest of the review just to keep it out of the way, because when you do get crazy with the articulation a little bit, you can hit that and it does pop out, but it pops back in if you don't mind it being in there. The figure is beautiful. I love the sheen here, but a lot of the sheen is caused by the mold release maybe from the factory, or some kind of overspray they put, some kind of lube for the joints, even though all the joints were super tight when I got them out of the package. But once I got them loosened up, I haven't had a problem with them since. Another thing coming out of the package is the joints being turned around. On this side, since there's a swivel at the top of the bicep and then at the elbow, This was turned around here, and it took me a minute to figure out, oh, wait a second, that's not his bicep. His bicep's on the back side. So, yeah, not a bad thing, as long as you notice it before you go taking a bunch of pictures, which I did, so I had to go back. Another thing is you can have the shoulder upside down too. If you have that around this way, you're not going to get as much movement down. You can't bring the arm down to his side. So make sure that's turned around and it'll work properly. See, a little bit confusing. But like I said, Mondo still has a lot to learn about action figures. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad, but there's some questionable decisions made here, and going over articulation, we'll go over those. And the first one you come to is the neck. It's a ball going up into the head where it just sticks down, but it's not really a socket. It's more of just friction hold on there. It gives you a lot of range of movement because really you're putting it in the position and kind of sticking it on there. And it stays looking down, or if you want it looking up, lots of tilt, swivel, but it never actually sticks on there. It's just held on there. Not a terrible thing, but different. When I go to move it, the head pops off in my hand. I got to stick it where I want it to go, and yeah, I'm not complaining about it. It's just different. The shoulders are a hinge and swivel. You can get swivel all the way around. Then it hinges out, up past 90, really. You have a swivel at the bicep and a swivel at the elbow. Not my favorite setup there because, like I said, the bicep can swivel all around and it gets out of place sometimes, but what you can do. Hinge at the elbow, besides that swivel, you can get up to 90, well, almost 90. Not great because the Sculpt hits right there. Hinge and swivel at the wrist, you can swivel, hinge in, hinge out. Good range of movement there. Nothing in the torso, but I'm kind of used to that with turtles. There kind of looks like there's a swivel there, but I don't know how that would turn with all this crap around it. The hips are another learning curve part of the figure. The peg coming down 90, so you can swivel on that, and then the hinge you can have either going forward or you swivel it out and you can have it going out. But the problem here is the top of the leg angles up, so you can't really, you got to manipulate it around to get it out. It kind of slams into the torso right there. A good thing they did do is the shell part is a softer material. In fact, you can punch in right in the center. That's weird, like it's hollow behind here. But that also means the shell gets out of the way down here when you're moving around the legs. There's a swivel at the top of the thigh, but for the most part, it swivels all the way up there, so you only use that when you're out. Double knee, good range of movement. Even with that pad right there, he comes up and kicks his own shell. And then we get down to the ankles. Poor ankles. There's a swivel here, and you can get back really good. But because of this sculpt right here, you can't get forward past that, so you can't really lunge forward. You can't have him in a deep crouch because he can't get his foot straight. There is a forward-facing pin for rocker. For accessories, Donatello in the package comes with 2 grip hands. This works really well for most of his accessories. He has a set of hands that are open with the ninja claws in them. These are neat little additions. I don't see myself using them much, but I appreciate extras. And then he comes with an extra right hand that is called the vertical thumb of affirmation. Don't be getting too fancy on me here, Mondo. This is a thumbs up. That's cool if you just call it that. Now the extra hands, not a big deal at all. You just pop the hand out, it's got a mushroom peg on it, and you can pop the other hand in. No problem at all. For other accessories, of course, he comes with his bow staff. It's a nice little sculpt. It's got the wood on the ends. It has a wrap in the middle. It's painted a darker color than the rest. There's a dark wash all over it. And like I said about the grip hands, you just slide it in. It works really great. Or you have the holder on the back of his belt. Now this is really tight. Once you get it to the wrap, you got to kind of twist it in there. I wouldn't go pulling on it too much because that rubber, I don't think it will, but I'm afraid that would tear if you get too crazy with it. So I usually just grab here, twist back out. And then there you go. He comes with a couple of sets of throwing stars or shuriken. He has the 4 points and he has the 8 points. I like the extra paint on the 4-point ones. The matte black really differentiates these stars from the others. The only problem I have is there's no way to really hold them. It doesn't fit in between his fingers on the grip hand. and there doesn't seem to be anywhere to store them. He comes with a little Utrom. It's a nice sculpt. It's different than what I'm used to, but it totally works for me. It's kind of slimy, kind of scary. I wish the eyes were painted just a little bit better, maybe more detailed, but I'm not going to grab too much about that. The skin has that pink and purple look to it. And if you're not a huge fan of the Utroms, you can use this as a Squidbilly. Cool. He comes with a baby version of himself before the ooze. Again, nice sculpt. It has a dirty wash to it. Lots of paint apps to it. They could have cheaped out here, but no, it's a cool little turtle. He comes with the Utrom Blaster, a nice sculpt to this. I like the silver of it, and then the black detailing, just everything about it. It's a simple design, but it's more detailed in the sculpt department than I thought it would be. Again, much appreciated there. He comes with a grappling hook with a rope. Another thing that I don't see myself using a lot, but again, I dig extras. And just posing him with the grappling hook, I did have fun. That's all that matters. It's a fun little accessory. And then finally, since this is the Mondo exclusive, it comes with his gravitic equalizer. I don't know what that is, but it's a neat little accessory. The sculpting is a little bit soft, but it matches the rest of the figure, everything else, and that's just the style of it. So I'm rolling with that. It's cool. And then quite a bit of paint work. You have the reds, you have the silvers, you have the kind of turquoise of the base, and then a dirty wash all over it. That's applied really cool, like almost comic style. But what threw me off when I first opened it was this is rubbery. Compared to everything else, I think there's a reason for that. It took me a minute to figure out how the hell to get this on his hand. I was like, that won't fit. But if you go right here, there's a bar that is actually the grip inside of it. It pops up and out. And then you can take the hand off of the figure, put it in here, kind of get it around the thumb, put the bar back through his hand, pop that back in place, and then you pop the hand back on. So a neat little accessory. Again, I don't know what it is. I may never use it again, but it does look cool. It makes me want to go back and find out what the hell it is. And if that's not the sign of a good toy, then I don't know what is. And then finally is the alternate head, and that's in his original comic red look. All the turtles had matching bandanas originally before the cartoon differentiated them even more, not just their weapons. And for marketing purposes, I can see exactly why they did it. That was my version of the turtles. I like the different colors, but I also appreciate getting another head that is in the red bandana. What I kind of wish, though, was that it was a different sculpt. I know after everything I got with this figure, it being the same sculpt, them not having to make a new mold, it's just different coloring, saves them a little bit of cost, but I don't know, I would have liked to see some teeth or something. And to change that out, like I said in the articulation, this just pops off, and it almost seems like the red has a smaller hole, but it wasn't on it in the package. So it's not as stretched out as the other one, but it being the same sculpt, I'm sure it's the same thing. And that just pops on and it looks good. I like that. For comparison, here he is with the Bandai Stormtrooper model kit, 1/6 scale. The Stormtrooper's a little bit scrawny, except in the head. He's got a big brain, I guess, whatever. But before I brought another 1/6 scale figure in here, I was thinking, man, this Donatello's huge. This is big. It's going to almost stand as tall. But nope. As you can see, it looks pretty good. And then here he is beside the Hasbro 12-inch Deadpool. This Deadpool also scrawny for whatever reason, big head. It seems to be a running gag in my collection, I guess. And then finally, for high-end collectibles, here he is with the Hot Toys movie Deadpool. So at the end of the day, less regret. I don't regret this decision anymore. I really dig the figure. And yes, when I started the review, I thought, God, I'm going to need the other three. But as time has went on, and, you know, my brain has leveled out, and I've thought, where am I even going to display one? I've kind of talked myself out of the other three, both because of space and because of price. This thing, if I remember right, it's been a while, was $150, if not more. So it's neat as a one-off piece. It'll go somewhere special, somewhere out on display, but having the rest of them, that would take up way too much room and way too much bank account. But I appreciate this for what it is. Yes, $150, but there was a lot of accessories in here. Most of it I won't ever use, but I'll have the Utrom at his feet. I'll probably have baby version of himself down there. Grappling hook laying around there somewhere. The shuriken, maybe the blaster. So as a display piece, yes, very happy. But like I said, Mondo still has a ways to go before they're making great action figures. There's some limited range of motion here. There's some falling apart. There's some spinning meat. I wish to hell the ankles went forward more. It would get more action poses there. But overall, just looking at it now, I am super impressed, and I better damn well be for the price I paid for this figure. And maybe down the road, if I find myself on a light month, that's weird to say that out loud, if I'm not buying a lot that month, and I find myself with extra money, I may pick up maybe Leonardo, maybe Raphael. Extra money. Who am I kidding? So if you like the review, comment, like, subscribe. I'll catch you on the Fwoosh.